on the channel. teamwallart.com. The link is in the description. Worldwide shipping, and it's unbelievable, guys. As I've told you before, this is the sort of stuff that you can get from these guys. My favourites on the end here. Accused of everything, guilty of nothing since 1919. You can get this one for $5.99 if you buy another one for $7.99. And I did that. I've got the one of Marcelo Bielsa here. A beautiful image. Really good quality as well, by the way. And of course, the title-winning boys. Some really good stuff on there, guys. As I said, the link is in the description. I went to these guys. I love this sort of stuff, and they are Leeds United fans. Go check it out. Enjoy the video. Yes, everybody, hope you're doing fantastically well. It is Connor here, and we are back with another stream. I hope you're all doing fantastically well. It is your Chelsea preview, an absolutely massive game for Leeds United this weekend, and it's a 12:30 kickoff, unusually. But yeah, it was a bit of a lesson last time out, I thought, anyway, and we're going to discuss everything in pure detail, as we always do here on the One Leeds Fan Channel. If you haven't checked out any of the Team Wallart stuff, please go check it out now, of course. I'd rather, unless you guys, I'd rather you not donate. You know, I appreciate the donations, but get yourself something back in return for the donation. Get on Team Wallart, get some Leeds United stuff. We're getting a lot of comments in. Love the new setup, Connor, pal. Yeah, I thought I'd get the camera back. You OGs know what it was all about back in the day, the rumour mill days, which will be coming back very soon. The camera is back. The top, I mean, you guys have said it enough. The jacket is smart, mate. Good evening to you both. Brownie is in the midst. I can see him there. He's eager to get in. He's chomping at the bit. Did someone mention Tyler Roberts? I can see Brownie absolutely frothing in the background there. We're gonna get him in. Brownie, how are you doing, mate? All right, pal.
I'm not bad, mate. Not bad. Loving the jacket. Very decent.
Yeah, hold on. I'm just going to. I'm ruining this here. Yeah, go on. What were you saying?
The jacket, old school. I like it.
What do you reckon? It's a bit vintage, isn't it?
I'm all over it. To be fair, decent, mate.
It's not a bad cop, is it? It's not a bad cop. Brownie, we've got a lot to touch on, mate. We've got a hell of a lot to touch on. Leeds United facing Chelsea. As I always say with you, mate, what are your initial thoughts?
Skeptical, to put it politely. He's not done bad, has he, since he took over Tuchel, to be fair to him. I've had a look. He's had 11 games and they've conceded 2. that's it's a good start, isn't it? But it's an early kickoff, and early kickoffs on Saturday, they don't normally produce a lot of goals. Don't know where Connor's gone now. He's having one with his camera, isn't he?
Hey up, it's all going on here, isn't it?
What is he doing? He's got a bit of He's got a nice bit of equipment, and he thinks he's.
It's all going on.
Hollywood director.
It's all going wrong. What are you saying, mate?
Since he's took over Tuchel, they've just become stronger, I think. And like you said in the start, when we played Chelsea, we did get a bit of a lesson. It was one of the few games this season where I thought we haven't really laid a glove on them. And he's gotten better. So it bodes well, doesn't it? But the Saturday kickoffs, the early Saturday games, they tend to be coupon busters, don't they? When you put in the old accumulator on, you never touch the early kickoff. So I'm clinging on to as much hope as I can get, mate.
Yeah, I mean, I've just been on a Chelsea preview, other side of the coin, guys, if you want to check it out. Some great stuff. And I've just been on that now for an hour and a half. But I mean, they're relatively confident, but when you're going into it, I don't know about you, mate, but that game when we last played them, I know it was only 3-1, but it could have been 7, couldn't it?
Yeah, it was the first time this season when we actually played that game where I thought, bloody hell, we're miles away from top end of this league. There was a real gulf in class, and it was a game where we were well beaten, and you could it was one of the only games this season where you can put your hands up and go, yeah, we didn't deserve anything out of that. Like we've been in games like West Ham recently, Villa recently, where we've lost and we've thought we should have got something out of that. But the Chelsea game at Stamford Bridge, like you say, mate, it could have been 5 or 6.
Yeah.
Definitely. We're setting it up well, aren't we, mate? We're really setting this game up really well. But I think as all Leeds fans, we're very honest with how we are as a team. We like to dream, but we know where we are as fans. I think we know what to expect, and I think this is a type of game where we're just not there to make the numbers up, but happy just to be in these type of games again in the Premier League. And if we get anything from it, great. But it's going to be a tough one.
Be nice with fans, wouldn't it?
It would be. It's one of the. Well, it is the first time we've had a. I know we had Man City at home, but there's not really a big rivalry between us and Man City. Whereas it's the first biggie that the fans have missed out on at Ellen Road. Really, I think you look at Chelsea, you look at Man United, the Liverpool. They haven't been to Ellen Road yet. This is the first one. Whereas fans, you think bloody hell.
So what? With this game initially, well, I guess reverting back to the last game. I mean, as I said, I've just been on this Chelsea preview, and what I noticed was they were talking about Reece James having the game of his life, Ben Chilwell having the game of his life, Kante having the game of his life, Mason Mount having the game of his life. Is there a bit of a correlation there between Frank Lampard getting his boys up for it? You know, it's a big game for Frank, and it's a huge game. And he loved it at the end. He was jeering, you know.
It did have that factor, didn't it, mate?
But all I was going to ask you there, Brownie, was we know what a tactician, what an unbelievable start he's had, Tuchel. But will they have the same vigour and get up for it factor as they did under Frank?
It's a great point, mate. It's a really good point. Does Tuchel? It's just another game to Tuchel, probably. And if you look around the Chelsea squad, there's not many homegrown Chelsea players that will get it either. Whereas Frank Lampard, he's had the whole Derby Leeds thing for the last couple of seasons, and it have really meant something. He, like you say, it'll have really got him up for that game. I mean, then you flip it. We should be up for it as well, though, shouldn't we? And we didn't really lay gloves. So it's one of them where I think I've just seen a comment pop up there where you do have 3 hits in the season. We won't be judged on how we do against Chelsea, Liverpool, Man United, Man City, Tottenham this season. We won't. We're a newly promoted team. So you'd snap your hand off at a point right now. But I just got a weird feeling that we're due to turn up in one of these big games. Yeah,
I don't know if it's because it's that, you know, back in the day we had a good home record against Chelsea, and I don't know. Yeah. Obviously, we got slapped 5-1 at home, and I don't know if you were there, Brownie. I was there in the League Cup back in the League One days, but yeah, I mean, you just think with Leeds, I don't know what it is. It's when you see we're at home, and when you see there's a pitch there, and I mentioned this on this chat that I was having. And they're all, you know, they're talking about, you know, all these wonderful players playing this lovely style of play and attacking free-flowing football. And Tuchel has had this, that and the other. But what he hasn't come up against is a team who run more than anyone in the division, a team that's coached by Marcelo Bielsa, who we've spoken about, Brownie, gives any team the edge. Yeah. And a team... And if they come to Ellen Road and played on a pitch like this, because don't get me wrong, I tell you what, Brownie, they did against Barnsley. They came and played on a little bit of a shocking pitch, and Barnsley were unlucky. I'm telling you, Barnsley were unlucky in that game. So I don't know if those 3 little things could play a little bit of a factor in this game.
Again, mate, it's another good point. I watched the Barnsley game, the FA Cup game. It was on. I think it was on the BBC that night. And you're right, Barnsley did. Chelsea had to really dig in to get the win, and the pitch could be a leveller. The factor of, does Tuchel really get the rivalry? And he's right, we've never lost 3 on the bounce. And I've said that many times this season, that Bielsa's never lost 3 on the bounce. And I don't think you want to start now. We've got more players coming back into the squad. Cox available, Shackleton's back. Brad is available again. So the squad's getting there and he's got options and we've got a little bit more in depth. We're nowhere near the squad depth of what Chelsea have got. I mean, when you spend 433 trillion in 10 years, you're going to have whatever you want, aren't you? But at the end of the day, it's 11v11 on the pitch, isn't it, mate? And like you said, we've never last 300 bounds. Early kickoff. There's all these different little things going in. The early kickoff's always a coupon buster. You would never touch the early kickoff. And the pitch comes into play as well. Are we being realistic or are we just clinging on to any hope we can get? I don't know.
Do you know what I love, though? I love that Liam's coming in already and going for the brownie nibble. This is what I love about this. Is what I love.
I don't need to nibble. I don't need to nibble. The stats say it all, mate. I don't need to nibble.
So let's touch on. I guess let's touch on. I mean, we've not, we've spoken a little bit about the factors that might go in Leeds' favour, but in terms of last time, we've just spoken about, we felt that we had a little bit of a schooling. What stood out for you in that game? For me, Brown, it was the physicality, the athleticism. I feel like it wasn't just. I feel like it wasn't just quality. I feel like quality doesn't just compartmentalize itself in terms of technical ability. I think quality can, you can have quality in the air, you can have quality physically. You look at Kai Havertz. Kai Havertz, who's a playmaker, Brownie. You've got a playmaker who stood at 6'2". They're at everything that a Premier League top side should be, aren't they? Yeah.
In that game, what really stood out for me was the quickness of the passing. It was bump, 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 bump. There was a purpose about it. They didn't just pass it for the sake of passing it, and it was one touch, two touch. Coincidentally, Liam mentioned Roberts. That's something he doesn't do. It was touch, touch, touch. That's quality. That's what really stood out for me. Even all the way across the pitch, they were getting into wide areas. They were playing through the middle. It just felt like we could. Obviously, Leeds outrun everybody, but it just felt like we just couldn't get close to them. We just by the time we'd got there, the ball had gone somewhere else. It was just one of them nights where it was the first time that I thought, crikey, we're in the Premier League now.
Yeah, and I think that was probably the first time, Brownie, where there was actually a discussion. And obviously, me working for Leeds Live, we've got a few stats people who said it was wrong, but there was a very closeness of the amount they've run and we've run. It was the first game where you actually thought it's actually close, this one, you know, how much they've ran and how much we've ran. And interestingly enough, what I didn't realise, what we learnt from Sheffield Wednesday, what we learnt from Luton, what we learnt from Wigan, what was it, Brownie? It was every time they beat us, they'd go on to lose, and Chelsea did that. Now, the big factor is they lost to Everton, they lost to Wolves, but then what they've got next week is Atletico Madrid, which is a huge game for Chelsea. But we saw the comparisons with Arsenal, Brownie. Arsenal were talking about playing Benfica after they played Leeds, and that, they're going to have to rest players. But is it just the way it is that these teams have such quality and depth that it doesn't matter if they've got Benfica, it doesn't matter if they've got Atletico Madrid, they're still going to put out a side that really can hurt Leeds?
Yeah, of course. I mean, even the second string 11 is going to be a strong 11. I mean, who did they play? Werner, Abrahams, Giroud. My heart bleeds for them. Do you know what I mean? It's one of them. But it is a good point. Another good point, and it's another little addition to bring into it, that Abramovich demands trophies. He wants silverware. They're not going to win the Premier League. They will be in the top four, I imagine. So, will their eggs be in the Champions League basket? Probably, yeah. Yeah,
definitely. Okay, so
in relation to Hannah, I think he's brilliant. I think he's really good. We've done really well since that. Our stats of winning games has been amazing since he's been in that team.
I need to stop flashing these sort of things.
I don't mind it.
Thank you for your comment, Hannah.
1-3 in the last 10.
Jack Dominic, he's here. All right, lads, a bit late here. Can we talk about the swapping of the wings between Raf, Harrison and Costa? Jack, what an incredible comment that is, because we will get into that. Yeah. I think that's a very good discussion point, and that's what we do here on One Leeds. If you've ever got a conversational point, we'll flash it up as much as we can if we're not waffling on like we normally do, and we'll try get into it. But Brownie, in this game, Chelsea have sort of been deploying a little bit of a 3-4-3. It's been Christensen, Rudiger, I think, and Azpilicueta as a back three, and they've really, really solidified as a back three in comparison to when Frank Lampard was manager. So in this game, are we looking once again at putting sort of square pegs in round holes and maybe putting Costa on Rafinha's side and putting Rafinha on the left, or do you think we're looking at putting Rafinha on his stronger side and putting him on in his original position? I mean, what would you in terms of would you do in terms of the wing positions on Saturday?
It's a good point, and we've mentioned it a few times where we seem to be weakening our best side. Why weaken what we've got? We played Rafinha over on the left side in our last match up against Kufal, and it's just, and again, at Arsenal, we had they had their Tierney out at left back, and we swapped round our right side. It's like, just play our stronger side. Chelsea, of course, are going to be stronger all over the pitch. I do believe that we'll see some changes Saturday, to be fair. I think he'll mix it up a little bit.
Yeah, I do.
He's given a few players a couple of games now, and it hasn't really worked. I think Harrison will come back in, which would probably suggest that Rafinha goes back to his right-hand side, which is where he's been strongest with, linking up with Ayling on the right-hand side. Like you say, square pegs in round holes just to fit bodies in. Just play your strongest players in the strongest areas. Yeah,
definitely. The other side of the coin, Chelsea Fan Channel, where I've just been on, Miz, go check him out. He's a Sydney Chelsea fan, and we were just talking about how Sydney's absolutely. There's a massive Leeds fans out there, expats, Brownie. But Ronan Flanagan saying pint on a Thursday, Connor. Ronan, I've got the day off tomorrow. It's my day off. That's the only reason, mate. I promise. But yeah, so we're obviously playing up against Chelsea. They've solidified massively at the back, playing sort of three at the back. And what's really interesting about the Chelsea preview I've just been on, Brownie, Kai Havertz in the false nine. Now, Marcelo Bielsa's side, we've played the false nine before. We've had Jack Harrison in the false nine. You know, we know Pep Guardiola's famous Barcelona side. They used to rotate with the false nine consistently. We've seen Man City rotate with the false nine as well. I think we've even seen Liverpool do it. Obviously, with Firmino, he's the sort of the perfect example, but he gets a few more goals. Kai Havertz, massive in stature, was absolutely superb in that false nine position against Everton. How are we combating that?
It's a good point, because it doesn't really give you centre halves anyone to mark. So you know what Bielsa's like. He always likes to two defenders against one striker, or if they play two up top, we'll go three centre halves. So having no striker, does he give the role solely to Phillips to pick him up? Does he put an extra body in there and free up more space down the wings, because they're only playing a three at the back? So will we have doubling up on the wings? So maybe bring Dallas and Ayling further forward on the wings, because the centre halves have not got nobody to pick up, which could actually help us, that, because we'd be in 2v1 situations against their back three. But of course, you've got to get the ball to get to in them advanced situations. And obviously against Chelsea away, it was probably one of the only games this season where we didn't really see much of it. We were really, well, we didn't lay a glove on them. We were by far inferior to Chelsea as a team. The quality was there. I've been a bit disappointed with Havertz, to be fair, if I'm being totally honest. Tuchel seems to be getting a little bit more out of him than Lampard. I was really expecting a lot, but he's young. It's his first season. That's what we keep hearing about Roberts. He's young and he needs time. So Kai Havertz can have time if he wants.
I love someone clip up the fact that Brownie somehow got Roberts into a Kai Havertz conversation. That's brilliant.
It's true. He's young, isn't he? Needs time. But yeah, jokes aside, I think it would be more of a Phillips man-to-man role on Havertz. Because is Havertz going to run in behind, run the channels? Probably not.
I just worry about if they're doing a 3-4-3. I don't know about you, but I thought the standout players in the last game were Reece James. I thought Chilwell was fantastic, and I thought probably the pick of the bunch was Mason Mount. If I don't know, I mean, I would, and we'll get onto our lineups in a little bit. There has to be some accountability and responsibility put towards keeping, and it's easier said than done, but keeping Mason Mount quiet, because I think he's a terrific player, and I think he's very underrated, and he runs things in that Chelsea team. And against us in that last game, I thought he ran proceedings in the middle of the park with Kante.
Yeah, I think it was one of the first times where it was really evident that once Kante turned him quite a few times, and he was just running at our back four. But I think it'd be a big tactical battle. I think it'd be a really big tactical battle with them playing a false nine. It's not something we're used to coming up against. So it'd be really interesting to see what Bielsa does. I'm fascinated by what Bielsa does at the best of times, but coming up against a different formation that we're not really used to seeing. Be quite interesting to see how he goes about it, because you're right. If he solely puts Phillips on Havertz, then who's picking up Mount? Do you know what I mean? It's one of them. Cooper, Levente, Koch, whoever he goes with, they're kind of not going to have anybody to pick up, which is a bit of a weird one.
Yeah, and that's why we're going to get onto what we're thinking a little bit in terms of bringing players in. But yeah, touching on this, hi Conor, did you hear how Bielsa said he could spend the rest of his life at Leeds? And we heard it today, didn't we, Brownie? It was Bielsa saying that essentially. I think in his point of view, just to give a little bit of context to what he said, he turned around and he was asked in his press conference. He said he thinks about spending the rest of his life at Leeds, just in terms of. I think what he was trying to say is, I only see my life at Leeds. I plan for the future. We're planning for the transfer window. I don't think he's as bothered about contracts as we all are, and I think that's just the mystique of the man. And it's really nice to hear that he is just solely focused on football. But freaking hell, Marcelo, get that contract signed, get that 5-year contract signed. Son.
Yeah, he's a man of principles, isn't he? He's a man of he sticks to his morals, and if he says he's going to be somewhere, he's going to be there. That's just the man he is. And
sounds like a song.
I mean, for me, you can put a piece of paper on the table and just let him put whatever figures he wants on it. Let him put whatever date he wants on it. Just let him pick what he wants. Because, I mean, he's taken us out of obscurity. Let's be right. We were, we were a laughing stock. We became a joke.
Brownie, can I throw a stat at you? It's not even. It's not real. Well, it kind of is a stat. Paul Eckingbottom. We finished the season in 13th place. We were 38 points behind Wolves, who won the league. I mean, I just think when I think about that, and we've been lower than 13th, but the gulf, Brownie, just the gulf, even to the playoffs, and then to Wolves, who just ran that league ragged. To say we are where we are, mate, even in that first season progression, and what we were able to do under this guy. I mean, it's 1,000 days in charge of Leeds, and we've got to give. What does he mean to you, Brownie? What does Marcelo Bielsa mean to you, and what has he done? Because for me, mate, I'm just going to surmise it really quickly. I love Leeds. I used to have a season ticket back in League One throughout all those days, the shit days, basically. And I'd go watch him, whatever the weather, rain or shine. But I didn't have that adoration for him. I didn't feel connected with the club. I didn't feel connected with the city, the community. There wasn't a family. And now, because of Bielsa and Radrizzani and the whole team, but mainly Radrizzani and Bielsa, I think, I now feel like it's my club again. I now feel like it's not because I'm a Glory supporter, I'm fickle. I just feel connected to that entity again. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, of course, mate. I mean, I think you're right. I think we kind of lost our way and identity. And we went through owners, we went through administration. I mean, obviously, I was at Leeds when we went into administration, and that spell of it was like a revolving door. People were coming, people were going. If your contract was up, like mine was, if you were administration, so off you went. And I mean, then we went through, obviously into Dennis Wise days with the -15. It just felt like it was just one thing after another. not so long after that, we had Warnock, and it was like just him bringing his mates in, and that was the era for me where there was no connection. The crowds at Ellen Road were gone. There was just no connection. And then on top of that, when we had the Salino circus where he's getting chased around the ground in a taxi, do you know what I mean?
You've got to laugh, haven't you? You've got to laugh now.
He closed the training ground. He made players bring in their own packed lunch. He closed the kitchen down. So
colour purple.
Training ground, the food at the training ground was unbelievable. And then they had to go and bring in pack-ups. He drained the swimming pool. I think you're right to touch on Radrizzani. And then during that spell, I mean, we had the don't go to bed just yet on transfer deadline day. So we're like, oh, yeah, lovely. Sold 2 players in half an hour. We're like, what's going on? I mean, you're laughing. It's one thing after another. And then you realise that what he's done. I mean, after that, it was loan player after loan player. I'll be honest, I've played Football Manager all my life. There was players coming to the club I'd never even heard of. There'd be players coming to the club that you won't even remember were at the club. You'd look back now and you think, who the hell was that guy? And that's just the situation we got into. Ian, my brother was at that game. It was a Monday night or a Friday night, and he texted me after half an hour, and he was demolished. He's had an away season ticket, my brother, for 8 years, and he's seen some rubbish. And for people like that, like yourself, Conor, who was in League One, and you have the fan base of the 16, 17-year-olds, he's given them these days back. I mean, I'm old enough to have been to Champions League matches and seen some decent days. I mean, when you look back now, that team under O'Leary, top at Christmas of the Premier League, it should have won something. It really should have won something, that team. The quality in that team, it really should have won something, and it didn't. But Bielsa's given us that little bit of belief. We've got back to the Premier League after so long. And you're right to touch on Radrizzani, like I say, because without him, who knows where we'd be. Radrizzani brought Bielsa to the club, and it's ironically 1,000 days Bielsa's been in charge today, like we've seen on social media. And I mean, give him whatever contracts he wants. I mean, statues.
Brownie, what's he done for you? Like, and it's people don't get it. You get opposition fans coming here and laughing, and we talk about, you know, we probably as a culture don't have that, you know, we don't look at managers as godlike. We're probably quite cynical as a culture, you know, Brits and Europeans, really. Maybe not, obviously, Italians, because they have that sort of raw passion and sort of look at godlike figures. You look at Maradona at Napoli. But I don't think we have that. But I think Leeds fans are quite unique now in terms of, I mean, I'm looking at a picture here. I'm looking at pictures there and there. I'm looking at this. He's everywhere. Bielsa, like he's everywhere in my life. Now
he has become. It'll sound weird, but he has become godlike. He's connected the fans back to the club. He's for me. I mean, you touched on Hecking, but I played with Hecking, and great guy. But you're right. We were 30 odd points away from the playoffs. I remember Wolves coming to Ellen Road and when they won the league, and my word, they absolutely blew us away. Was it 3-4-1? 4? It could have been 8-9. It was like attack v defence for the whole game. And now for me, to sum up Bielsa, I used to watch every game that was on TV, every game going. Loved football, couldn't get enough of it. I find football boring now when I'm not watching Leeds.
Yeah. Same.
There's games that I just switch off after 15, 20 minutes. I can't. It's just boring. Bielsa, for me, the football that we play, teams will laugh like, oh, yeah, you get beat 5-2, 6-2. We win 4-1, 5. It's just, football's an entertainment for me. And he's made Leeds entertaining. You never know what's going to happen. At the weekend, would it surprise you if we won 3-0? No. It wouldn't. Would it surprise me if we got spanked 4-1? No, wouldn't surprise me in the slightest. And he's just made football such an entertainment. And he's made the rest of football game boring.
Yeah, I think Jonathan Brooks got a fantastic comment here. Bielsa's changed the way I view football as a Leeds fan. Opposition fans don't get it because they've not been where we've been and seen what we have from champion. And I completely, it's not even, the thing is, Jonathan, you're talking Championship mid-table, mate. That's probably the upper echelons of where we've been. It's been Stockport County away 4-2. John Huntington scoring against us. We've had Exeter away losing 2-1 there. We've had absolutely, it's been absolute trauma being a Leeds fan over the past 16 years.
Was it 3 years?
3 years, yeah. 3 years
in League One. It's unheard. Where we were, like I said, the O'Leary, Champions League semi-final, top at Christmas of the Premier League. I mean, to go from that to League One, like you say, getting beat by Exeter and going places like Yeovil, Stockport County, and I mean, it
was bad. It was bad on it, mate.
You can look back now and laugh, but it wasn't funny at the time. It really wasn't funny. It wasn't funny at all.
It wasn't, man.
He's without Bielsa, Leeds are still in the Championship.
Yeah, and Brownie, I just want to address this comment. Disagree 1,000% with Conor. I've never not been in love with Leeds United. That's never what I'm saying. I am not saying that I didn't love Leeds United. That's genuinely, that's out of context. That's not what I'm saying. I've always been in love with Leeds United. I wouldn't be going to these places if I didn't love Leeds United. But there wasn't a connectivity with the club. There wasn't. And you're kidding yourself if you think there was. Nobody was connected to the club. It was a chore going and watching Leeds United. It was, you love them, but it was awful. It was dreadful. We had awful owners. We had players who didn't want to play for us.
That's what I was about to say. Yeah,
Brownie, the note 6. We had players who didn't want to play for the club. So how am I supposed to invest in that club? I love Leeds with all my whole heart, my entity, my number one thing. It's above my girlfriend, and she knows that. But I unfortunately, I didn't feel it. I didn't feel the club was giving me it back, and that's where the disconnect happened for many years.
Yeah, and you took the words out of my mouth. We're saying there was players that didn't even want to be at Leeds. There was players looking to get out, not wanting to play for the club, and we went through the spell of just loan player after loan player, and it just became toxic. Yeah, I mean, we had fans chasing around the owner, round the ground, barricading. I even forgot about this. We've had that much rubbish. You forget about things. We sacked a manager and then reinstated him a day later because our striker went on Sky Sports News and handed a transfer request in. That's the level that we got to. And now we're going ahead into a game against Chelsea due to Bielsa for me.
That's it. And honestly, mate, generalising it, you got to look at it like that. 11th in the Premier League, we're doing so well. Let's get back to the game, Brownie. And we've touched on Bielsa there. Let's look at the lineup. For me, there's got to be a little bit more defensive. In the first game, it was very much attack, and we've seen Bielsa's learn. I think we even learned in the West Ham game. We looked better. Leicester, we definitely learned. Newcastle, it was a different performance, and Bielsa went into it with a different mindset. I think in this game, and I think in this game, I think at this moment in time, I just want to touch on one thing before we get on the lineup, Brownie. I think Stuart Dallas is a better central midfielder than he is a left back at this moment in time.
Yeah, he is. We look a lot more steady and stable in there when Dallas plays, and I think he could be the one to hover around Mason Mount, if I'm totally honest. But when you flip that around, that means Alioski's playing.
Yeah.
And I know you're not his major fan, but for me, I don't think Alioski's done too much wrong. Personally, not many goals have come from him. When you look at mistakes leading to goals, there's been a lot more come down the right-hand side than there has down the left-hand side.
We just need 2 Dallases, don't we? We need him in centre mid and left back. That's what we need.
I mean, here's a good question for you then, Conor. Because other clubs might not look at Dallas and think of him as a fashionable player because he's Stuart Dallas coming out of the Championship. How much would a Stuart Dallas cost you?
I think you've got to take it.
He's in our top 3 best players this season for me, Leeds. Easy.
I mean, I think you've got to take into 2 factors. If you had a team coming in for Stuart Dallas, his contract and his age. And I think it's a good question. It is a good question.
Because Lee's right there with his comment. If we had another Stuart Dallas, our team would be so much more balanced. So to us, he's invaluable. But other clubs might look at it and go, Stuart Dallas.
But to be honest, though, Brownie, I don't know if I was in the summer, and this is no disrespect to him, I don't know if in the summer I'd be looking at a Stuart Dallas-esque as a left back. I think we need a fully fledged European quality left back.
Definitely,
natural.
Yeah, definitely. I'm just saying ahead of Chelsea game at the weekend, where would you put him? Would you put him left back or centre mid?
I think he has to go in centre mid because I think we need to be more defensive in that position. Like we've been speaking about Mason Mount there, Brownie. We've been speaking about Mason Mount, and unfortunately, we don't have the luxury of Chelsea and be able to have about 4 squads worth of talent. But for me, it has to be Alioski left back, and it has to be that Dallas has to go in the midfield for this game. We can't have Brownie. We can't have 2-8s bombing on forward all the time. So we're just going to get picked off.
It's not out of the question, but he could match them up.
What do you mean?
He could go with Koch, Cooper, Llorente.
Do you think Koch's going to? He said he was playing him in a 23s game though, didn't he? In the next week, so I don't know if he's going to feature. Is he?
Probably not. No, but I'm just saying we've seen Harrison players in some games the entire left-hand side in some games. Yeah. When you think back to the Championship, there was some games where he were left back, left wing back, left centre forward, just parading the whole side, and we'd have Dallas and Ayling over on the other side together. And that's the beauty of what Bielsa does. Sometimes I'm looking at it and I'm still trying to work out who's playing where. There's games where you just don't know. We're not really playing a formation. We've just got players on the pitch. Berardi's available.
I mean, other side of the coin here as well. How's the Leeds Academy? Any up and coming left backs? And it's a really good point. Yes, we have. we got Niall Huggins, Leif Davis, who apparently the next big things really. So, I mean, it's really interesting, Brownie, because their development, I don't really know what we're going to be doing because we're going for another left back, and we were speaking about it on the show before that we're going to be bringing in maybe Leif Davis and Leif Davis and Huggins are going to be back up to this new left back who's coming in. But where do you see their developments? Do you see them going out on loan, or do you see them being within the squad? Because I don't really see it, to be honest. I mean, is Alioski going to stay? We don't really know what's going on, do we, in that department?
I think Alioski's on his way, to be honest. Yeah. As for the 2 left backs, I've been there myself. When you're coming up through an academy, one will stay, one will go, mate. There's no room for two. So they're kind of.
Who was yours at Leeds? Who was yours at Leeds? Was it between you and someone else?
No. I left when we went into administration. My contract was up. I left and went to Notts Forest just because my contract was up at the time. And gutted, mate. I scored 43 goals in them 2-year YT. And
all right. We're doing a podcast. Just hush.
Off we went, mate.
We're getting that in the podcast.
No, but it's all about timing when you're coming through. Like you look at the left back and right back situation. We had Sam Byram and Charlie Taylor come through. If they'd have come through 5 years before, they're coming up through with Gary Kelly and Ian Hart. They're not getting anywhere near the first team. It's timing when you're coming through as an academy player. And at the minute, left back wise, there's a shirt there to be taken because we haven't actually got one at the club. So, but for me, if they were going to be ready, you'd have seen them play at left back at some point already this season. They've not really got in with the sniff, have they? He's happier to play Dallas at left back or Alioski there, and you've not even really seen him come on and play in that position either. So for me, that tells me that he's not really fancying him there.
Okay.
Plus, on top, you've got the rumours of us going for Perraud and a European left back.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so we're looking at Dallas in. Are we both agreeing that Dallas is in midfield then? Just a yes or no, Brownie?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so I think the sort of back four sorts itself. Obviously, the keeper. Who else are you going with in midfield? I'm going to talk about who I'm going to go with. I think it's got to be Rodrigo. I think we're really struggling with Click at the minute. I think he's out of form. He's out of sorts. I think he's injured big time, and I think he's going to need time out in the summer as well. I think he's had about 485 games for Leeds in a row now, and I think he needs time out. And
he's not going to get it. He's going to be with Poland. He's going to be going where he's falling, isn't he?
It's a decision to make, isn't it, mate? I mean, I just think there's got to be time out for him at this moment in time. I mean, for me, the midfield, I guess if you're looking at a 3 and we're talking about the wingers as 2 separate things, I'm going Phillips, Rodrigo, and Dallas for Chelsea.
Yeah, I think that's our most stable 3 in there. I hope that's what it is. But you know what Bielsa's like, he can throw a curveball in there. I mean, who saw a few weeks ago when he dropped Alioski and brought Robertson? You just never know what he's going to do.
Can I just throw another name as well? Jamie Shackleton.
I was about to say that depends how fit Shaq is, because he might like the fact that he'll be able to rat around, energy around the pitch, hook onto Mason Mount. And if he did do that, that would put Dallas back to left back. Personally, I'd be more comfortable with Dallas and Phillips in there.
Yeah.
But, and then obviously up the front, I think Costa will drop back. I think Harrison will come back in personally.
Brownie, do you think we're going to see with what you're saying there with Dallas, and you're saying Harrison and all this sort of stuff, and the combination that Harrison and Alioski have sort of defensively, do you think we're sort of going to see a much more Leicester-esque performance from Leeds United against Chelsea this time? Because Bielsa has to have learned something from last time out when we really got picked off against Chelsea.
I hope so, mate, because if it's not, it could be 5. So I hope we do see a bit more of a defensive display. But like you say, I think Bielsa's even come out and said himself he's learned from the first round of fixtures about the second. We've seen Leicester. We got picked off against Leicester, and then we went to their place. We were a bit more disciplined. We won the game. Newcastle, it was 5-2. It was a basketball match. We were a bit more disciplined when we went to St James's Park. He has come out and said Bielsa's that's what he is. He's always studying the game. He learns all the time. And we're forgetting this is Bielsa's first year in the Premier League as well. So he's going to be learning the Premier League. I think we will be a bit more disciplined, especially if it's Dallas and Phillips in there. They're not both going to be bombing on. They're going to be sitting around, which gives Rodrigo, Rafinha, Costa, Harrison, whoever plays, license to then go home about themselves.
Yeah. And the big one, like we've just been speaking about there, mate, Rafinha. Is he going to be on the left or right for you? And what do you think Bielsa's actually going to do? So what's your opinion on where he should start and where do you think Bielsa will start him? You think he'll, obviously Harrison's, but we've seen Harrison on the right a couple of times, haven't we?
Yeah, I think I would play Rodrigo on the right, and I think that's what he'll do.
Rodrigo?
Rafinha, sorry. Rafinha. I had something else in my mind about the midfield. I was thinking when we were talking about Dallas and Phillips sitting, that gives a bit more license to the fullbacks to bomb on, especially Ayling. He likes to get forward. So when you've got 2 sitters, you've also got your 2 centre-halves and a fullback. The other one can tend to bomb on. But yeah, Rafinha on the right, and I'd think Harrison on the left. Their back 3, they've been playing Azpilicueta, haven't they?
I was thinking this.
He's
a solid player, to be fair, Brownie.
Don't get me wrong. He's an unbelievable footballer, solid defender. But if there's one to run at, it sounds weird saying let's run at Azpilicueta because he's unbelievable. He's had an unbelievable career. But if there's one to run at with Rafinha, he's it.
And do you know who they kept talking about as well, Brownie, on the other side of the coin, the Chelsea show? They kept talking about how unbelievable Christensen is. Now, for me, if you put in Rafa up against Azpilicueta and you put in Bamford up against Christensen, I think we're in for a shout here, big time, and we're on our game within the first 5-10 minutes. Just as those two as
Don't get me excited, man.
I'm just saying. I think Bamford 100%. He's shown it against the best in this division. He can definitely mix it up with the best. And Christensen, he might have had a few decent games, but for me, if I'm choosing any, put it this way, I'd rather have Zuma. If Zuma was to be at centre back, I'd be more worried than Christian being at centre back. And that's no disrespect. I'm sure he's having an unbelievable time under Tuchel. But in terms of technicalities and him attribute-wise as a player, I think Bamford can ruffle his feathers, definitely.
Well, Bamford likes to play, likes to get in people's heads. We saw it with Tyrone Mings, didn't we? He's just one of them players that he's a pest.
And
he never gets in. Rudy Christensen, Aspilicueta, guaranteed back three. Yeah, so if you're looking at them three, it's unbelievable back three. It's better than what we'll put out. Obviously, it's Chelsea.
Yeah,
but it'd be interesting to see. Obviously, they'll be talking about Rafinha themselves, Chelsea fans. Who would they not want to see Rafinha running against? Who would worry them the most out of that back three? That'd be an interesting question to find out. Who, from a Chelsea point of view, who would they don't want Rafinha running at? Because whoever that is.
Yeah, if you're a Chelsea fan and you're watching, get it in the comments. It's a good question, that, Brownie. It's a good question. I think you're right. I think because Rafinha's a freak, isn't he? But the thing is, Brownie, what we've seen is, and guys, we've not asked you once and we don't ask you a lot in these longer form shows, but please remember to like, comment and subscribe. Jason Lelas is an absolute hero. He always says, we've got a few of you in the comments who really vouch for us, and we're not one of these shows who constantly ask for stuff, but if you could like and comment and subscribe, of course, that'd be amazing if you enjoy what we do.
But we always read the comments. The comments are class. It's what football is all about. It's opinions and chatting about football, especially in times like this where we can't go anywhere. So,
Brownie, do you know what we need? Do you know what we need, Brownie? We need, when we get back to normality, we need a massive one Leeds pub session, like pub golf. You know what I'm saying? We'll all get together. There'll be 400 of us. There'll be nearly 12,000 of us in a pub. But what we were saying, mate, we're talking about. I've lost my train of thought. We were talking. The problem was, I feel what teams sort of do against Rafa is when they double up against him. I mean, he naturally struggles, doesn't he?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's obvious that he's our best player. He's our threat. It's obvious. So teams are going to do that. We do it when we played Palace. We tried to double up on Zaha. It's what teams do, but it frees up space somewhere else on the pitch. And this is where the likes of Harrison or Costa or Rodrigo, Roberts, whoever plays, has to step up to the plate. They have to do more. It can't just be solely relied on Rafinha, because if he's getting doubled up on, the space is elsewhere.
I know what we're saying about Rodrigo, and I'm not digging him out because I know we talk about Roberts enough, but I still think, 30 million, Spanish international. I know he's coming into the midfield, and I understand that, and he's a Spanish striker. I understand that, but as a record signing, a Spain international, he needs to be taking the mantle as well as Rafinha, doesn't he? And I think we're all like this, and I don't think we like admitting it, but we're all still a little bit with Rodrigo. It's the perfect sort of sigh, isn't it? It's, yeah, okay.
I hear what you say. I hear what you're saying, mate. Yeah. I think when he gets on the ball, out of them four that we've just mentioned, Rafinha aside, the Costa, Harrison, Rodrigo, Roberts, when he gets on the ball, more things happen. But do enough things happen, if that makes sense? Yeah. He's one of them players where he gets on the ball and he does get you on the edge of your seat, and you do think, oh, God, yeah, he does play it quick. But he's been in and out of the team, just like Robert says. And he's one of them where things do happen. And I know the price tag isn't the player's problem, but for the price tag, do a little bit more things need to happen. Run of games, he's been in and out of injury. It's been a weird season for everyone at every club. It's been a weird season. The amount of games coming thick and fast. Maybe it was a good time for him to settle into the team this season. You always have the first season to settle in, don't you? So maybe we might see the more of Rodrigo next season, but be nice if you could have a spell from now until the end of the season of being consistently in the team, because I don't think he's had that.
But if my question, Brownie, is, I think we'll get two midfielders. That's what I think we'll do in the window. What happens to Rodrigo?
Fighting for his shirt, isn't he?
But does he then move into that department where he's challenging and pushing Bamford?
Yes.
Or is he within that central midfield role? Because he's playing out of position right now. But does he now, if we get two midfielders, let's say hypothetically we get Sander Berg and Rodrigo de Paul. Let's say it's never going to happen, but let's say if we do hypothetically, Rodrigo for me is then not even in that midfield conversation.
No, he's not. He doesn't play if them two players come in. But what I will say is, and this might sound weird, but tomorrow's a big game for Bamford for me against his old club. Didn't have the best of times at West Ham. His goals have been unbelievable this season. But there's been quite a few games this season where he's not really done anything.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. And I mean, I know the best strikers. I mean,
Bamford, yeah.
I mean, what I'm saying is he's got nobody pushing him. He's got nobody. I think the best of Bamford came when he had Nketiah knocking on his door. Then you saw that run of Bamford going on all the games with a goal. And I think if you were competing with, well, he said it, hadn't he, himself? But he thought when Rodrigo came in, he was competing for the position with Rodrigo. But the start Bamford had, there was no dislodging him from the play, from the team. I think we'll see another striker coming in the summer. So it's going to be really big. It's going to be a really big summer for Leeds, I think, personally.
The Chelsea fan, other side of the coin, getting back to our question. Thank you, Ethan. All Leeds, aren't we, for bringing us back to this. Right now, honestly, we're not worried at all as we conceded 2 goals under Tuchel in 11. That is mad.
That's what I started. That's what I started the show on, didn't it?
What?
I said that.
I did not know that. So the back three have come up against Suarez, Felix, DCL, Richarlison, Salah, Mane, Rashford, and conceded 0.
Woo! I didn't know that last bit. We started the show saying that the Tuchel had conceded 2 in 11s, so it wasn't exactly getting me off the edge of my seat for Saturday. But just to put him back in his box a little bit, the early kickoff's always the coupon buster. I'm telling you, that early kickoff ruins bets galore, mate. So that's what I'm clinging on to. Never mind your Suarez, DCL, Richarlison, Messi, Ronaldo, Maradona, Pele.
Yeah, and I do think, Brownie, I do think, though, start of the season, and I will say this, the start of the season, we played an all-star Liverpool team that were champions and were unbeatable. We went to Anfield when they had a full squad, by the way. We're not talking about when Everton have beaten them, when all the Burnley have beaten them, all the Brighton have beaten them, when they've got a patched-up defence. Van Dijk, Gomez, Henderson, Mane, Salah, they're all the big boys, and they just come back off the summer holidays. You know what I'm saying? Maybe not with COVID and stuff, but you know what I'm trying to say. They were back fully fledged, fighting to retain that Premier League title. This was an unbelievable side with Van Dijk, and I know Aston Villa beat him 7-2. I understand that, of course I do. But we were the instigators. We were the first team who went to Anfield. Plus, what you've got to think is, Liverpool went away to Aston Villa, and I'm not trying to compare, but we were the first team who played against that Liverpool side, and we were the ones to show their weakness. So I think on any given day, we've shown that with Villa, with the home record where we took that away from them when Bamford danced at Villa Park. We've shown it with Leicester when we took them apart in that second half. Leeds United do have that edge, which worries a lot of teams in the top half. We may not get the results, and we know the majority of the time, Brownie, we don't, but we do have that edge that unsettles team. We heard that from David Moyes after the game when he was essentially saying, with Leeds, it's a whole different type of preparation.
Of course, mate. I mean, we went to Leicester, scored 3. We went to Anfield, scored 3. Man City came to Elland, we drew 1-1. I mean, them 3 are in the top 4. So on any given day, we can play a team. But to bring us back to reality, well, not reality, but just to put into context, I thought Chelsea would win the league this year. That's how highly I thought of their team. I thought Chelsea, and I think if it hadn't been for fraudster Lampard, I think they would have won the league this year. I think it's proven that, with that stat, scored 2 goals in 11 games, conceded 2 goals in 11 games. Tuchel's, the squad that Chelsea had, they should be a lot closer to Man City. I thought their squad should have won the league. We're now seeing
Brownie, how far are they? Like, if you look at their actual squad, if we've not played a single game at the start of the season, you look at the squad depth. Chelsea, for me, have the most squad depth in the Premier League in terms of quality.
They're up there. Them and Man City, street side. I mean, you can look at Liverpool now and their squad depth. I mean, their back four against Fulham was a disgrace for Liverpool Football Club. What they had to put out was a joke. You look at Chelsea's squad depth with Man City, nobody should be anywhere near them. And Chelsea fans have got every right to be happy. They must be really excited about what can come next season. They've seen Tuchel come in. He's got them a bit more disciplined. They're not conceding goals and they're scoring goals. It's a good recipe, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not bad, mate. It's not bad. So, I mean, we've just had the other side of the coin here saying Pulisic, Ziyech and Havertz are at times on the bench. And it's, I mean, that's what we're looking at right now. Brownie, ebb and flow of the game. How do you see it going, mate?
Off air, about 4-0.
We've got our predictions. We need to do our predictions.
We are doing our predictions. I mean, it's the rollover of the competition again that we'll fire out on Twitter. So for all the Chelsea fans, they can join in as well. So we do a competition where you've got to guess the first half score and the second half score. Win the prize from Surprise Shirts. They'll send you a box out. It's been going. We've had 3 games already and nobody's got it right. But we'll fire out the competition details for that. Bit of fun. Free to enter. But for me, I'm going to stick my neck out. And for some reason, I keep coming back to this, that it's the early kickoff on a Saturday and you never touch the early kickoff when you put it on your accumulator. And there's not ever many goals on an early kickoff on a Saturday either. 1-1. And then I'm going to wake up about 2:30 and realise I was dreaming. But 1-1. I'm going to go 1-1, you know.
Oh, God.
Come on, Connor. You can say 4-0 if you want.
I don't know what to do because I don't know what to do. We go through this every week. I don't know what to do. What do you do? Do you go with your head or your heart? Honestly, what do you do?
Definitely not my head at the minute.
Well, that's what I'm. Okay, all right.
You're 2-1 up, so you could extend your lead here.
No, but I can't. It's bad. I can't. I'm gonna go with. No, but they all have a go at everyone has a go at me because when I say we win,
but
we
let's
lose.
be realistic. Let's be realistic, Connor. Right? I mean, I know I've gone 1-1 because I'm a proper Leeds fan, but but nobody's expecting anything from this game. Let's be fair. Nobody's expecting anything from this game. The run we've been on, nobody's expecting. He's going to say it.
Everyone knows. Everyone knows when I say it, I'm first.
He's going to say Zola hat trick. You watch.
Jasper Gronkia with the win. I'm going to go with. I'm going to sit on the fence because I'm going to have to. I'm going to go with. No, honestly. No, I'm only going to say it. I'm only going to say it on YouTube. I ain't saying it on Twitter. I'm going to go Leeds 3-1.
Mate, if Leeds win 3-1, right, I'll do the next podcast show in my underpants, mate.
We won't get monetized. 3-1 Leeds. There you go. Have we got it written down?
Last week I was going to buy someone a free Leeds shirt if we won 4-1. This week, if we win 3-1, mate, I'm sat here in my underpants doing the review.
Oh God, 3. So I've gone 3-1. What have you gone for?
1-1.
Oh God. The thing is, you're not gonna because we never draw, so you're not gonna win.
How much of them pints have you had tonight?
Pete said the same thing.
I'm drinking what you're.
I tell you what, it's high strength German beer. That's all I'll say.
I mean, we're just in a good mood. Bielsa's staying for life. We're not expecting much from the weekend. We're not going down. We're going to sign Haaland in the summer. Just got to enjoy it, haven't we?
That's it, mate. But have you got anything else? Do you want to touch on Roberts at all, or are we leaving Roberts?
Who? Oh, Tyler Roberts.
Do you want to touch on him? A lot of people are saying they'd like him to start, so
I wouldn't even start him on FIFA, mate.
That's a good way to sort of end the podcast, I think. The thing is, guys, if Roberts scores 3 goals on my predictions, right, you got to click Brownie update. To be honest, Brownie, I feel like even Roberts getting into the final third, that's gonna get clipped up. That's it.
I hope he does. I hope he scores. I hope he does well. I would love people to throw it at me. I really would. It's not going to happen, but I'd love it.
PH Leeds, for the benefit of the tape, Conor says 3-1 and Brownie to host in his pants. That's what's going to happen. If we win 3-1, Brownie's in real trouble here as well because he said it as well.
Conor, I'm not in real trouble, mate. I'll do it. I'm a man of my word. I'll back my word. But there is no way we are winning 3-1.
Oh God. But guys, thank you so much for joining. We're probably we are gonna leave it there. It's been how has it been an hour already? Christ alive. They just fly, don't they? I'm gonna have to get off streams because if I don't get off camera in a second, I don't even know. I'm gonna have a fit. But thank you so much for joining, everyone. It's been an absolute pleasure tonight. We've had a lot of you watching. If you would, please like the video and subscribe. It means a lot to know that you're liking it. If you're not liking it, we don't know that you're enjoying the content, so we'll stop.
It's a quick one, because I'm a little bit nervous now. If we do win 3-1, we're going to be doing the show at 3:00 Sunday morning. Doing
it prime time next Friday. We won't do a single video until prime time next Friday. But yeah, brilliant. Okay, mate. Well, thank you for joining. Thanks everybody for joining, and we will see you in a bit. Cheers.